Okay, great. Welcome everyone. This is the May Transportation Parks and Public Space Committee of ANC 1B. Um, and I think this might be the full committee. A bunch of people, like 5 people said they weren't going to be here, so this might be everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can see the agenda, and then I'll call roll. Um, Officially, what I had sent out before and what was on the website were 3 items on the agenda. Cleveland Elementary School Safe Routes to School survey. That's a brief item. I just want to let everyone know about it. Then a potential resolution on some changes, last minute changes to the WMATA bus budget that we can talk about. And then it was raised by Jay, who I don't think is here. So this, we can decide what we want to do about that one when we get to it. But another ANC has passed a resolution in Ward 5, 5D or 5F. I'll check. 5B, actually. About persistent issues with DC 3111. So there's some discussion about like whether we want to take that up or adapt the resolution or write our own. So that's what the 3 items are. But I did also, we have a new DDOT rep, who I have Ward 1 liaison who I've invited to be here tonight. So we'll probably actually start with just an introduction from him. And if anyone has any questions with him, we can start with that. But I thought it'd be a good opportunity to kind of introduce him to the committee and stuff like that. So that was not on the agenda. Great. Oh, and then we have another commissioner here in the audience, Stephen Hanrahan, and he, I think, has an issue that he wants to discuss. So, we'll get to that. But now I'll call the roll. So I'm here. Julius,
Present.
Ben, great. Zoe is out, she said, actually. Karen, you're here. Dion said she would be out. Nick is out. Angela,
Here.
great. Guneve also said he would be out. No Johnny. Mickey, Brad,
Here.
Nicole, and I think Laura might have said she was out. Oh, and then Jay's here now. Great. Okay,
I
so
am
I'm
here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, still pretty good. Um, okay, excellent. So I'd like to move to adopt that kind of scattershot agenda that I just outlined.
Second.
Thank you.
Second.
And Jay seconded. All those in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. Thanks everyone. So, um, I see Noah Glasgow in the audience, and he is our new Ward 1 rep. So Noah, if you would like to come uh participate in the meeting, I'm gonna promote you to panelist, and then we can have a quick little chat.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, for inviting me. It's great to be here with everybody. My name is Noah Bryce Glasgow. I serve as the Ward 1 and Ward 6 Community Engagement Division Specialist at DDOT. I have been in district government for about 2 years now. I came from the Moker's office, so I'm sure that you're probably aware of working with Stephanie, Enrique, and Anthony. So those are my colleagues in the old office. I've worked with DDOT for some time from the mayor's end. So definitely familiar with working with ANC's community members and happy to take any questions that y'all might have.
Great. Yeah, thanks for being here tonight. I know in the past, and this is partially because of like staffing challenges and stuff.
Mhm.
ANC 1B and probably other ANCs in the ward have had issues with responsiveness from the engagement office.
Mhm.
So I think I'll just say this is like a good opportunity to maybe like kind of restart that relationship. Because I think some of my fellow commissioners kind of like when I would say like, oh yeah, this is how we're supposed to talk to DDOT, they would kind of roll their
Mhm.
eyes at me. So if we could kind of like, I think it would be great if we could like reset that expectation and not have people kind of like feel like there's no one that they can talk to.
I completely agree with you, and I will tell you, working on the Mochers end, and I've had to reach out to DDOT sometimes. It was a challenge as well for myself. So I definitely know coming from the outside and now being on the inside how important that relationship is. I will say part of the reason that we've had staffing shortages is if you remember last year when Congress stole our money,
Hmm.
we had to freeze a bunch of positions, and then some people left, and then we weren't able to rehire for because what it's supposed to be is one person per 8 wards.
Right.
Right now it's one person handling 2 wards. So we've got about 4 people and then a manager. But I'm very confident in the new team that we have. And I understand that, you had Keisha and then you had Ty, now you have me, but we're all set. We're in for the long haul. So I definitely hear you. And I will seek to definitely be responsive.
Great. I think it's in your inbox. But since Guneev, our committee member, is
Yes, the
not here,
sidewalk.
yeah,
It is on the schedule, but I
he
will
would kill
check
me if I
about
didn't
the
bring it up.
firm date. Yes.
Yeah, so that's been an ongoing saga for him
Mhm.
on his block. It's kind of an example of like multiple 311 requests over like 3 or so years, and then finally it seems like now there's been some resolution, but just like how there's lots of radio silence and like a
Mhm.
pretty there's degrees of sidewalk issues, but this one was like, I think a pretty big tripping hazard. So,
Yeah.
it's good to hear that, it's maybe finally getting fixed. Um, okay, any committee members, any questions while Noah is here or issues you want to bring up? Now is the time. It's also fine if you don't have anything.
I will say just as a flag real quick, I know that we've got a bike lane project on 11th Street coming forward. Uh,
Hmm.
uh, what we're first going to plan on doing is repaving the stretch of 11th Street from U Street to Florida because I think if you've walked around there, it is not the most pristine condition. So we definitely want to make sure that we have some fresh asphalt down before we do a brand new bike lane.
Are you
Um,
pulling the railroad ties
Hmm, that's a good question that I
or
will
just
look into.
paving over them again? Yeah, that's the root problem that causes it to keep.
Yeah, so we passed some resolutions over the last couple of years about the 11th Street bike lane, and should have comments on the Vermont bike lane coming to DDOT, very soon, like tomorrow. But yeah, in the resolution, we have brought up the poor pavement quality issue and the underlying reasoning with the old streetcar tracks. And so if that is something that like DDOT is working on to remove, so like the long-term health of the road would be better, that'd be great. We've been asking for that. So
Great. I will look into that. I did not even know that there were railroad tracks there, but I will look into that for you.
great. Thank you. Um, but yeah, so okay. Mostly I just wanted, to give you the opportunity to say hi to everyone, see if everyone, I forgot to tell people you're coming until like this morning. So, um, but yeah, I'll like pass your email around to the committee,
Yeah, and I can put all
their
my
contact
contact
information.
information in the
Yep.
chat.
Okay, great. Um, well, thanks for popping in. No need to stick around if you don't want to. It looks like it stopped raining, so that's nice. Um, so okay. So the next item I wanted to talk about, we've started talking about this the last meeting, I think, and the Cleveland Elementary School Safe Routes to School survey, or just like the project in general. So they had a kickoff um, maybe about 2 weeks ago. I was able to attend part of the meeting. I had a conflict with work, but was there at the beginning of the meeting and kind of shared our past resolutions with them. That especially mentioned the one-way directionality, or like potentially making it a one-way street in front of the school to help with pickup and drop off. That was like a main thing that was asked before through that resolution. But now there is, since they're having a project, they are doing a survey, Safe Routes to School survey. So I'm gonna put this in the chat for everybody and would just encourage people. I have not submitted it yet, but I would kind of encourage everyone to take a look at it. I think this is it is a more general survey. It's not just about Cleveland Elementary, but because Cleveland Elementary is getting a Safe Routes to School updated plan. Their last plan was in 2020, and they're getting, I think they've changed the radius around a school that you can do. They've kind of expanded the radius to be a little bit wider so they can look at it a little bit differently than they did in 2020. Um, but there's other schools in the list too from all around the city. So if you want to comment about Cleveland, that's great. But if there's another school that you would like to comment on that's currently going through this process, that's available too. So take a look at that. I've shared the link, and that will kind of help inform the projects. And then I think as they progress, uh, maybe they'll come and present the plan, or we could be a little more involved as they get going. Any questions on that? Cool. Great. Eh, Okay. So with the bus budget, I think I sent around the email uh, from 5F, I think it was. Where's my resolution? Here it is. That's not the right one. But essentially, they wrote a resolution about the cuts to bus funding. So this was some money that was announced in December, I believe, as WMATA was kind of like finalizing their budget to shop around to all the jurisdictions for approval into the WMATA board. And I can pull up the resolution, but essentially it was since Better Bus was launched last was it just last year? Was it longer ago than that? Um, uh, they've been soliciting more feedback. ANCs have weighed in, neighbors have weighed in, and they've kind of acknowledged that while Better Bus was in some ways was very successful, other ways maybe fell short, or they could just make additional enhancements. So what they did with it, they approved $6 million um, in December to kind of do all these things in this long list. Um, and basically it was enhanced service. So like, for example, on U Street, the C57, which we actually were talking about, with the Vermont Avenue, bus stops, because I think this is one of the buses that would use that layover, that is by the U Street Metro Station on Vermont. But that was like a weekday peak only uh, bus route, and they were gonna, with the money, they were gonna do all day, weekends and Saturdays. So kind of like greatly increase service on that route. Similar stuff with some of the other ones, overnight service on the D74, on the C63, some changes, um, increased service on MLK Ave. So basically, just like throughout the city, um, making some changes, but increasing service. So it was like a good plan. Um, but kind of at the last minute, a couple weeks ago, last week, recently, they pulled the money. So these enhancements wouldn't go, and I think there was some disagreement. One of the DC representatives on the board moved to strip it, but then the other DC representative objected to removing it. So essentially, this is just outlining the improvements, outlining what recently happened with moving the money. It was April 23rd, so almost a month ago, I guess. Um, uh, Asking them to restore the money so they can do these enhancements. So there's a lot of whereas clauses in this one, just kind of laying out the situation. But there's really only one ask, and it's for council to restore the funding. So if anyone has any questions about that, we could discuss.
Well, was the money diverted to something else or just evaporated?
So that's a good question. I do not know the answer to. So we could try to find that out. But potentially, I think it was just think it was just reduced. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if it was just removed to like reduce spending or if it was like explicitly rerouted to another thing. I do not believe it was explicitly rerouted to another thing though. Yeah.
I feel like when you initially sent around Joe's letter, I
Mhm.
think I remember him saying something about where the money was diverted to, but I don't recall exactly what he said.
I can try to skim that email very quickly. The mayor wants to use, okay. So the rationale from the mayor, uh, who the rep who voted to remove it, who moved to remove it, was doing it at the urging of the mayor who wants to use the money for legal programs. I don't know what that means besides legal programs. Um, the council member Allen, who chairs the transportation committee, is in favor of keeping the $6 million with WMATA and paying for the improvements. Um, So that's kind of like the breakdown. It's like the mayor wants to move it for various legal programs away from WMATA. Um,
It beats using it for illegal programs.
Illegal programs, so
So,
maybe.
yeah.
These days, who knows? Um, so that's so they're trying to reprogram the money, not just like reduce spending, I guess is the answer. Um, I think it would be great to have increased bus service, especially like we are lucky to have the U Street Metro, right in our ANC, but there's lots of parts of the neighborhood and the city that don't have good metro access, so that needs to be supplemented by fast and frequent bus service. So I think it's good to ask them to reprogram it back to the bus. So I would move that we do that.
I would second that.
Thank you so much. Chair moves to support the solution. J. Seconds. Any last minute thoughts? Um, if not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
any nays? Any abstentions? Great. Thank you. I told you, I think I said it before we started the call, this could be a light meeting. So, um, unless Steven surprises us at the end with something crazy. I think it's about speed humps. Now I remember. So Jay, you raised our final issue of the evening, the kind of 5B resolution about the persistent issues with 311. Technically, their resolution says is calling for immediate remediation of DC 311 web and mobile platform failures and standardization of service request intake. I know this committee most recently we kind of discussed 311 with kind of using Geneve's sidewalk issue as kind of like a point of failure that, shouldn't take multiple 311 requests over multiple years to even get a response. So we've kind of like talked about that and sent that to the ANC to discuss. This one is more specific, I think, about like technical failures in the application. The web view not always matching the mobile view, being different than like calling, the website not being mobile friendly, the app often failing. I know sometimes when I try to upload pictures, it like doesn't work, for example. Um, so
Yeah, there
yeah,
are. I, I'm actually trying to load it right now, and I can't even get off the loading screen.
in the app or
Um,
the website.
in the app,
Yeah.
I just have a white screen with the 311 logo. I know that often, I think recently, I've heard from others that there's a banner in the app that says the app is not working well right now. Please use the website. And I think even if you go on the website, it says like, we're aware there are problems with the app. Um, and it's like, yeah, okay.
Right.
Can we do something about that? Um, and then, uh, you know, there's, I think, I think here we've discussed the issues with some of the uh, sort of timelines being for things to get fixed being problematic. And this isn't even really about that. This is about, OUC, the Office of Unified Communications that that manages both 311 and the 911 system,
Hmm.
needing to get its stuff together and fix these, you know, programs that basically all DC departments tell you to use to report problems in the city.
Right.
Um, I professionally, I work for a consulting firm that does some work for DDOT, and even we, as part of our work, are often told to report things to 311 if they need immediate fixes, like, problems with sidewalks, like Geneve is having. Um, and, you know, it's even we're supposed to use 311 and it's not really functioning right now. So, um, I haven't had a chance to write language. I don't know that if we necessarily want to directly copy what was in the resolution from 5B, but I think the uh, immediacy of the request for action isn't entirely, you know, there is some immediate need. It's not just like overblown, I think.
Yeah. I thought their resolution was very long, which is not necessarily bad, but
There's 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 a lot there.
there's a
I would
lot
also
there.
say 311 does a lot, and
Yeah.
I think, one of the things that they're I think maybe we could separate out, the 311 system being, the centralized intake and that uh, certain departments have a long history of closing resolutions without actually doing the work, I think
Mhm.
is a separate and long-standing issue to the immediate and uh, the immediate need to fix the problem that the app just flat out does not work currently. Um,
Yeah, they have it all in one resolution, but they do kind of do that. So if we wanted to have a shorter one that is they were more confident about supporting tonight. So there's lots of whereas clauses with examples of failures, but with the resolve clauses, there's a section kind of what you're talking about with OUC not closing or closing tickets without resolution or an explanation, field mapping between Salesforce and the actual agencies. Like if you are in OUC, you can see everything, but if you're in DPW, you can't see half of the stuff. There's some things like that. And I mean, that it goes to the functionality of the app, but like from the public side of just being able to submit a ticket, it's a little bit different, right? So there's an issue of like the back end and what agencies are seeing, what responders are seeing, how responders put in comments so the public knows what happened. There's that. But then there's also the stuff for Octo, the Chief Technology Office, where it's like the app is not working at all right now. Please fix that. So it's like, do this month we say fix the app, and then we work on another resolution that's more about uh,
Uh,
the
I'm sorry.
agencies and their resolution. Or yeah, Ben, go ahead.
How how is Salesforce involved? Who
Salesforce
is
is
this
the
not?
back end. The
This,
the current 311 system uses Salesforce, which is why if you go in, a web browser to 311, you'll see the URL frequently will end in force.com. And it's because the Salesforce is the back end for the system.
are they also doing the front end stuff that's not working?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Is this all a question of DC government not doing a great job of managing a contract
It could be.
with a contractor?
Um, so we have a couple options, right? We could, uh, I don't think I would want to pass their resolution verbatim. Maybe like a slightly more streamlined version. So we could like have a more streamlined version that we work on and consider and vote on in June. That's one option. If someone felt strongly about passing exactly theirs, that could be another option. And then the third maybe option is if we had, to Jay's point about immediacy, we could have a simple resolution that we send to the ANC for the next meeting that's like the app currently doesn't work. It's causing problems with people being able to submit real issues to the city. Please address this. Is that worth doing? Open
I,
question.
I do like the idea of having a unified front with the other ANCs. If there's one unified request that comes in, that's a clearer message, right? Um,
Yeah. I guess they don't have like there's nothing there's nothing in it that like is wrong or objectionable. I think there's okay, let's go through we could go through their resolve clauses real quick. If you want to just go ahead and someone wrote something and it's good enough and we support it, then like support it too. I don't hate that. I like borrowing from our fellow ANCs. So okay, let's go through the resolve clauses quickly. Um, Conduct and publicly release a comprehensive technical audit of the DC 311 web portal and mobile application, including data field mapping between Salesforce and all servicing agencies. So I think that kind of gets to the issue with like in the someone I submit a ticket, I write these notes, agency can't see the notes is like what is being reported. Like that's a complaint that was in oversight hearing testimony. Um, okay, that's number one. Number two, immediately remediate configuration errors that prevent agency personnel from receiving complete resident submitted notes and attachments. Similar. Um, Correct all mobile application defects that prevent successful ticket submission, including required field validation failures. Um, Implement consistent functionality and feature parity across phone, web, and mobile app channels. That
That's
makes sense.
the issue where certain like ticket types you can't even do you know, through the app. And I think in the whereases, I think the one they cite in
No.
particular is during the snowstorm this winter. Like the only way to submit a uh, request, you know, a report that a sidewalk hadn't been cleared was over the phone.
Yeah.
There are other types, you know, sometimes you can submit a ticket on the website that is difficult, if not impossible, to find in the app. You know, you can text certain kinds of requests to, you know, you can send a text message to 311, but only certain kinds of requests. And you can submit requests to OUC via Twitter, but that's the only social media that they accept uh, requests via. So they don't use, you know, Blue Sky or any other kind of social media.
Yeah. Um, okay, and then publish a complete and standardized list of all available 311 service request categories and ensure identical availability across all submission platforms. So some of them, yeah, that's, I mean, feature parity is a little different. The service request categories, yeah, that gets to what you were just saying, Jay, where it's like, if you know you can call 311 and ask for snow, then great. But if you don't know, that, then it's not useful. So then the other two ones, so that's kind of to OUC, Office of Unified Communications. Then for Octo, um, it's like lead a stabilization and modernization effort for the DC 311 digital platforms to ensure reliability, mobile responsiveness, accessibility, compliance, and full end-to-end data integrity. That's probably at least a little bit of contract management, like you were talking about, Ben. And then implement system monitoring and public reporting of submission failure rates, application uptime, and error resolution timelines. I don't know if they would make that public, but we could ask. Sure, why not? Um,
I
okay,
and I wonder if they would even necessarily have that. Because I, you know, as a user, I don't really know how it works beyond that,
yeah,
you know, prior to the current uh, apparent total failure of the app, uh, there was a period of 6 months or a year where I would go to submit a report, say, uh, you know, of a street, you know, a traffic signal being broken or bent or something. And, you know, I would go through the whole, you know, form set to submit a request. And then when I hit submit, I would get an error message that said that the system couldn't be reached. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if that's a, you know, something even that would get uh, tagged as an incomplete submission, or if the fact that it couldn't submit would just disappear into the ether.
Yeah, it's like some of that stuff could be captured in error logs potentially, but a lot of times that's the kind of thing that like you just dig up when there's a big issue and kind of look through as opposed to like having a whole report you share on that. And if it's something like every time you submit a traffic signal request and it breaks, then that could be like thousands of things potentially. So if everyone's submitting them. So there's a couple more. They have a lot of resolve clauses actually. So they call in servicing agencies, including but not limited to DPW, DGS, to verify that all intake data fields, including narrative notes and attachments, are properly mapped and visible within agency systems. It's like a little bit repetitive. I think they kind of get at that before, but prohibit closure of service requests without documented action or clear explanatory disposition. It's like the closing comment you get or should get. I know that I've submitted tickets before and it doesn't have any comment at all. It just says like it's like a standard closed message, which is not useful. Sometimes, if it's like something on your block, you can see that they did it or didn't do it. But if you were just like going around the city and saw that something was messed up, you might not necessarily pass by again to see
I
anytime
think
soon.
this is also getting to the tendency in certainly in DDOT, and I don't know what other agencies, that they have their own ticket system for uh, you know, service requests and work orders.
Right.
And so frequently when they enter the work order, they close the 311 ticket. And then you have no way of following up to make sure that like the work order was completed, let alone was actually did what you asked for. And
Yeah.
so I think that's what the like documented action part is like, don't just tell me the work order's been entered and close the ticket. Like, tell me the work order's been entered and then leave it open so that I can follow up to make sure that the work order has been actually done.
Yeah. There's like a philosophical uh kind of like when you should close a thing. Because like if they close it when the work order is submitted but also are giving a clear rationale and timeline, like that might be acceptable. Now, some people would think it would not be acceptable potentially, but um, I
There's
think,
also a tendency to, you can tell when it's getting to be the end of some sort of reporting period because suddenly, like, dozens of tickets all get closed all at once.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, you just needed to clear out the backlog.
yeah, and that's kind of that starts to become not a 311 issue, and that is more of
No,
a
that's definitely a
personnel management
department issue.
department issue, and so like that can't necessarily be solved with this resolution, I think. Um,
Well, I
uh,
think that's why the last section
yeah,
is directed to the agencies doing the work.
right. Um, Okay, coordinate with OEC and Octo to ensure that service codes required for enforcement actions are available through all digital intake channels, just like more consistency. Then asking the council to do oversight on 311, um, transmit, or this is just saying who they'll transmit it to. That's kind of more explicit than we don't typically put that in our resolve clauses. And that this is the point person. So I would update, kind of the last two. I would update these last sections, of course, in the format to be standardized with 1B, but then potentially, if people feel comfortable with the resolution, we could vote to support the rest of it. I'll just make the kind of admin updates to make it 1B. Does that sound good?
I think that works for me, but I've been talking a lot, so I'm happy to hear from other people.
Yep.
Okay, nobody's
Yep.
saying anything, so I will move to adopt the resolution.
Oh, I don't have to
And
move this time. Thanks, Ben.
and uh and of course after the motion, people can make amendments. But
Yeah.
motion's on the table. There you go.
I'll second.
And Jay seconds. Beautiful. Seconds. Any comments? Any so far the only changes I'm going to make are basically administrative. Um, just to re remove all the 5B references and put in the 1B references. Nicole, I saw you unmuted. I'm going to call you out. Angela, I also saw you unmuted, so but it was quick.
Yes, I thought Nicole was gonna go first. Yeah, it looks good. It looks great to me. I think we accomplish it in that language.
Okay. Um, thanks 5B. You know, it makes our job easier if you write something thoughtful. So I'll send them a note. Um, okay, so all those in favor. Yep.
Nicole has a comment. She might put in the
Uh,
text.
oh no. Okay. Nicole says, I'm trying to talk. I think my mic is not working, but generally in favor. Nothing substantive, just technical issues. Okay. If they're like, if they're anything significant, you can put in the chat before we vote. But if they're minor, I think we can just update it before the ANC votes on it. If the resolution is still true in spirit. Okay. So all those in favor, please say aye. Or like
Aye. Aye.
raise your hand
Aye.
if you can't
I
speak,
Aye.
I suppose. Beautiful. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Great. Thanks, guys. I was not sure I wanted to pass it tonight, but then through the beauty of discussion, I was convinced. So, okay. Now let's go to our special guests that had to sit through all of that want to talk about speed humps. Commissioner Hanrahan and I believe also a community member, Stanley Travers. So I'm gonna go ahead and promote you both to panelists if that is cool with both of you. I hope it is because that is what is happening. And um, okay, I think you're both coming through. Um, so Commissioner, if you would like to kind of tee off the issue, and then Stanley can also explain.
Hey, yes. Thank you, Commissioner Holden. So many familiar faces and voices on the Transportation Committee. This is my first meeting. Kind of cool to check it out. Um, yeah, and I think this is actually like a pretty timely discussion, I guess, with like what y'all were just talking about with the 3-on-1 requesting process, and then also introducing the new DDOT representative. I think our concern, and I want to just give the floor to Reverend Travers here about his speeding issue on the 1,000 block of Euclid Street Northwest, and also just to contextualize it, it's fairly close to a school. Banner, I guess another school's like using it, but uh, it's the school. It's like by the Cardozo Park. Um, and then the 900 block of Euclid Street has speed humps, and the 1100 block has speed humps. Um, and I think the 1,000 block doesn't. And actually, the 1,000 block of Fairmont now just got speed humps. So we kind of feel like every other block has speed humps and this one doesn't. And there's a lot of speeding going on there. But Mr. Travers, would you like to speak about the issue more? I don't know if you're able to find the unmute button,
I might
um,
need to.
but yeah, Mr. Travers also went around and got a signees on from the everyone on his block to actually try and request a one-way conversion. Um, I know that is like a harder ask, I think, for DDOT. But I think the speed humps might be something to kind of push. So based on kind of the discussion a little bit, it's sounding like just kind of following the 3-in-1 process. Come on, camera. 3-in-1 process is like the best thing, but then, maybe if there's a way we could get just more information on like the TSI process in general. I know DDOT's done a lot of stuff to upgrade it recently, and there's new websites and everything. Was just exploring them. There's a lot of like great resources there. I just think maybe like a quick little one-on-one overview of how that process like works because it's still really popular and a big issue for residents. Maybe that's like a forum for the transportation committee, or maybe also, um, I don't know if people would want to draft a resolution to also support this endeavor. But Mr. Travers, are you able to come on off on mute?
You can also put comments in the chat if the mute is not working. We can see those and I will read them aloud also, if that's possible. But yeah, Commissioner, so you said you submitted a TSI or Mr. Travers submitted a 311 transportation safety investigation. Is this
Yeah, so I
right?
submitted a TSI,
Yep.
but I actually just went to go find it and I couldn't find it. So I just submitted another one.
Okay.
Um,
So
yeah.
I think what we could do, and Jay, I'll call on you in a second, but I think what we could do is a simple resolution that's like, hey, there's neighbors have uh noticed a speeding issue on the 1000 block of Euclid Street Northwest. They have submitted a transportation safety investigation for um, speed humps and or other traffic calming measures along the block. This is the resolution. This is the number. We'll include the number in the resolution and just say that we support DDOT moving on that. I think it's a really simple resolution. Jay?
Yeah, so I live on the 1100 block of Euclid, and I definitely have also heard from residents on the 1000 block that there's a lot of speeding. I've seen a lot of speeding. I've heard from residents that, they've had their parked cars on Euclid hit multiple times by speeding drivers. So I would certainly support the call for speed humps and traffic calming on this block. I think that one-way conversion is going to be a very difficult sell, not only because of the usual traffic diversion problems, but this block is around the corner from a fire station and EMS station, and fire trucks and EMS vehicles come up that hill on a regular basis, and so I don't know if they would be thrilled to see that go one way,
They're
but
not thrilled about anything.
fair. But um, they can deal with the speed
Speed
humps a
hump.
lot easier, I think, than although there's certainly other places like Linear Heights where they just simply go the other way on the one-way street, regardless of what the signs say. But um, I would say just looking at the map, this is, I would say, almost certainly within the school zone for both Eugene Meyer, which is the swing space currently for, I believe, Brent School, likely, and also the school zone for uh, the old Banneker High School, which is the current swing space for uh, Harriet Tubman. And both of these buildings are going, I think the old Banneker, I think, is due to be renovated soon, but will be the new Shaw Middle School. So these are schools that, the school zone should help with the TSI prioritization to get that pushed through faster. And I know that there are kids who walk to school regularly at the Tubman swing space down that block of Euclid Street. I see it regularly.
Okay. So it sounds like kind of a no-brainer to support the
I'm
request.
trying to get on.
We can hear you now.
We can hear you,
Okay,
yeah.
good, good. There is a school on 11th Street. There's a school at Banneker, and kids are walking back and forth. There's an apartment, two apartment buildings. There are elderly people crossing the street, and I have submitted 3 times petitions from the homeowners here to have the street either uh, one way or speed humps. And I noticed that they have speed humps. When I requested it, there were no speed humps on um, 11th and Euclid. Um, but they put speed humps there. They skipped over the block that I live in, and they put the speed humps up by Banneker School. So I was told by the mayor's office, because I've been through all of that. I've been dealing with this ever since Fenty was in office, and nothing has been done. Our automobiles are getting scratched up, hit. I've got a new Chevrolet truck. It's been hit twice already because the street is too narrow and people are speeding. So that's why I've been interested, because I'm not the only one that's complaining about the street. It is actually too narrow when you turn off of Sherman Avenue to go to 11th. If anybody's coming down the street from 11th to Sherman Avenue, you have to wait until they come down before you can go up. And that's a big problem. That's why I requested one way. Um, but I said, if you don't be one way, then make it speed humps or something so people will slow down. And I was told that they didn't want to put signs there to slow the traffic down because it's downhill and they want people to be able to catch the light at Sherman Avenue. And I thought that was monotonous.
Yeah.
So it's really something that should be looked into. I've had Mr. Allen, who was working with the mayor's office, to come up and stand and watch the traffic. I've got videos on my phone right now that I've sent there a year ago, and I've showed them the videos. Nothing has been done. So that's why I'm really concerned about this. Either somebody's going to get hurt, or some more cars are going to get damaged on this block.
Yep.
And
Thanks for bringing the issue to our attention. I think it's traffic calming stuff is one of the things I like this committee to work on and support. So, um, yeah, I think I would like to have a simple resolution that kind of reiterates what you've told us tonight and supports um, the TSIs that have been submitted.
right. If they don't, I can understand the one-way situation, but at least put speed humps.
Hmm. Hmm. Great. So
Yeah,
any,
I'm pretty well tired of putting my truck in the shop to get it fixed. I had the truck like 2 weeks. The tail light on one side was broken, and I got scratches on the side of it already, and one dent on each side.
yep,
That's gonna cost me $500 deductible.
yep, pretty bad. So any questions for Mr. Travers from anyone or um like I said, I think this one is gonna be pretty simple resolution.
Would the timeline be for the resolution for next
For
committee
June.
meeting for the June one? Okay.
Really, since we don't have it written, what we're gonna do is just like pass a motion that well, they don't have to pass anything. They can say they don't want to do it, but we're gonna, I would suggest that we pass, um, a motion to draft a resolution to send to the full ANC that supports Mr. Travers's, request for speed humps, and the TSI will include if, Commissioner, if you give me the TSI number or the 311 number, I'll include that in the resolution, so it's all kind of packaged together. And then we'll vote on it at the June ANC meeting.
Great.
Okay, cool. So, I would move to write a resolution in support of speed humps and traffic calming measures on the 1000 block of Euclid Street Northwest.
I second.
Seconded.
Thank you.
And
And
thank you, Mr. Travers, for sharing your story. Euclid is notoriously just horrible for traffic and parking and yeah, sorry.
Yes, yes.
I would even be willing to include it as a statement that enabling drivers to speed so they can make the red light is not something that we should be supporting. That's not a valid reason to not put traffic calming on the street. I know
That's
that
true.
the grade can make it difficult to do speed humps, or so I've heard, but uh, making sure that people can make the traffic light is not.
Yeah, I have videos in case somebody want them. They're still on my phone. Where the traffic is backed up so bad you just cannot get through.
um, okay, so any other questions or we could vote? Um, okay, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Uh,
Hi.
Aye.
I don't know if I heard all 8 ayes, but any nays? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries. We will draft the resolution, send to the ANC in June. So, Mr. Travers, the full ANC will vote on this in June, and then if that passes, which I would assume it would, then we'll send it immediately to DDOT and also we'll send it to Council Member Nadeau's office as well, like the Ward 1 office, just so everybody has it.
Okay. I
Great.
thank you. I thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Commissioner
Mhm.
Hanahan,
Thank
for
you. Thank you,
facilitating.
Chair. Thank you, committee. Thanks for the time.
Yep. Okay, so that was our last item. Any last minute thoughts from my talkative committee tonight?
Good
Uh,
night.
Good night. So if not, then I'll adjourn the meeting. Great meeting, guys. We accomplished more things than I thought we were going to do today. We have 3 resolutions. I thought might only have 1 or 0. So great job. See you guys next month.
All righty.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Good night.